What's up? This is Rebel Radio.
What up? What up? This is DJ Newmark.
This is Peanut Butter Wolf.
It's your boy. It's okay.
Keep checking out Rebel Radio.
Rebel Radio.
This is Rebel Radio.
We're in the place right here. Rebel Radio is going down.
Would you say Rebel Radio?
Oh, wait. Let's do it again.
Rebel Radio.
Are you ready for this? Our interview today with DJ Jayceeoh. The man is nice on the turntables. He's a DMC finalist, an MIC turntablist champion. He won the VH1 Master of the Mix. He's been on tour with Wiz Khalifa and many others, and he's now focusing his efforts on his production. He stops by our studio to drop some knowledge on us and to play us a sneak preview, which I'm not going to share with you because it was in private, but a sneak peek at his upcoming collaboration with Redman. He gives us some lessons on how to take feedback and when to ignore it. Very important stuff there, and he's going to tell us how he put a old school street promo campaign for one of his recent releases and why that makes sense to do in a digital world.
Cool, man. Thanks for coming. I know you stay busy, so I appreciate you making time.
Definitely, of course.
It's good.
Is this my good levels?
I think you're like the only person that's actually said that. Everyone just starts like talking, and then Jay's
I come from a production standpoint.
For sure.
Yeah. I went to Emerson, so like, filming stuff.
Right.
I have a background in that as well.
Oh, is that right?
I'm always like thinking about all aspects of shit.
Yeah.
How much of filming
when I
do you
shouldn't
do?
be even thinking about it.
How much of filming do you do now?
I don't really do any like in terms of me actually filming, but like if I'm on a shoot or like shooting something for me, like I'm very hands-on.
Yeah,
with
you like geek
shots
out
and editing and
That's good.
You like that stuff?
Yeah.
Is that what you studied at Emerson?
Well, I got a degree in media arts.
Okay.
So it was like audio and radio production was my focus, but I had to take classes in like film and cinematography and.
So you knew you wanted to go into that.
Yeah. Something creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you first just get into music?
Man, I got into music. I mean, obviously, just as a kid, being around music, know, you're into music. But like when I got really passionate about it was in 8th grade.
Okay.
I actually was living in LA and my family uprooted to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You born in LA?
I was born here.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was pretty much the worst thing I could imagine leaving
LA to
growing
Pittsburgh.
up in Hollywood, California to go
That's
to
not
Pittsburgh,
like a big
Pennsylvania.
corridor.
I was just like, I'm staying, I'm moving in with my best friend. Like I was just like, no. But when we moved there, who turned out to be my best friend was this kid who was a little bit older.
Okay.
And he was really into hip hop, and my older brother was into hip hop.
Yeah.
And they, both were like kind of into DJing, and like one of my good friends had a VHS tape of, like the DMC battles, like scratching and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta learn how to do that. And that was the time that like Def Comedy Jam was popping, and like Kid Capri was on the thing like Control, and I was like, that's so cool. I was like, I gotta learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So really, like my love for DJing started in 8th grade, and it's like that's when I got my first set of turntables, and it's been like game over since then.
What kind of music were you into before that?
Before that, like
just as
I
a
was
kid.
kind of all over the place. I was like, I was into skateboarding.
Okay.
Like so, I was like kind of like jumping around from stuff from like Offspring to Green Day to Pantera to Rage Against the Machine to Beastie Boys, kind of like all over the place.
Sure.
But
do you remember like do you remember like I have like I can remember like my first record that that lives with me. You know what I mean? Do you
I don't remember the first physical I mean, damn. I remember getting like I had 2 Live Crew on cassette, single. And like my parents like didn't know about it, and I'd bang it.
Which single?
I believe it was. Which one was it? I can't remember it.
They had
What was their first like big one?
Well, the first one was We Want Some Pussy.
Yeah, that was
And then
that
Throw
was
the
it.
D was like the underground.
It was We Want Some Pussy for sure. And my parents were not down.
Yeah, probably not.
Of course I was.
Probably not.
But also in that same time I was like Tribe Called Quest, like Midnight Marauders was like constantly in my tape deck, you know, De La Soul. Like I come from a real like, you know, like purist hip hop, you know. That's how I like fell in love with DJing and music really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what. So in 8th grade, you start getting on the tables. That's the kind of stuff you're doing.
Yeah, I was just like I wanted to learn how to scratch, you know, and that was like my main thing. I wanted to be a battle DJ and like compete, and like rockin' parties wasn't even my main thing at that point. I was just like, I need to learn how these guys are doing that. With the records.
Were you competitive person? Like before
super
that?
competitive.
Yeah.
Like I'm a family of. Well, I'm part of 3 boys, and I'm the middle, so I have the older brother who...
You got him from both sides.
Yeah, so, like, I always got to try and beat my older brother, and then I got to keep my younger brother in check, you know? So it's like I grew up, you know, whether it's food, you know, to any sport, you know, like, it's always a competition. So I grew up just being like, you know, I always want to, you know, I want to win.
Are your brothers in music?
No, they're not. But my older brother, we kind of started like DJing at the same time, and like we were both like into it. But I was just way more passionate about it. And once I got better than him, he's like, "All right, man, I'm giving up."
Right.
Like, and he became a chef. Now he's like an incredible chef.
Oh, cool.
Oh, right,
So-
we heard.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Yeah. I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But so, you know, I know kids like you know, I remember being that, and like you just spend all day in the bedroom like working the tables, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, because I was like heavy skateboarding, graffiti at that year, and then as soon as I picked up DJing, got tables at home, I was like after school, straight to practice. Like, all my friends like, let's go skate, let's go tag, and I'm like, nah, dude, I gotta go practice.
Yeah.
You know?
What were you practicing against? Was it just love, or were you like, was there a party you're like, that's where I gotta go?
I wasn't even like trying to play out, or like there wasn't like a specific battle. This point, I was just like, I need to learn the techniques. Like, how does this work? How does this technology work? And how do I used to listen, like one of the first like mixtapes that really like spawned my, you know, creativity as a DJ was like, you know, Funk Master Flex, 60 Minutes of Funk, Volume 1.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's not crazy technical, but he just had like the flavor cuts and like would bring stuff in. And I was like, I gotta learn how to do that. So I'd literally like listen to that and then get a record and be like, how do I do that? Like no one taught me.
Right.
So I like
were you like yelling on the mic too, like Flex?
Nah. I was pretty timid on the mic early on. Now I'm a maniac. But early on I was just like, you know, kind of like hermit, just like practice, you know.
For sure. Yeah. And then when so do you remember like when did you go out and DJ for people for the first time?
There was like a handful of like high school parties.
But not battles.
Yeah, my first battle was in college, freshman year.
So you're playing parties in high school.
Yeah, playing parties a bit in high school, but not a ton.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you played for a crowd?
Yeah, the first time was actually my parents gave me and my older brother a go-ahead to throw a New Year's party at our house.
Nice.
And, you know, my
Were
brother...
they home?
No, they weren't.
Oh, okay.
And my brother was a senior and I was a freshman, so it was just like the range of everyone from our high school
Oh my God, that's
was
crazy.
there. And, you know, we threw down, we set up the tables in the living room, and that was probably my first experience of like rocking a real party.
How'd
Is
it
this
feel?
in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, this is in Pittsburgh.
Do you remember how it felt?
Yeah, it was incredible. I love it, even though I'm sure I sucked at that point. But it was just like,
Yeah.
just to be the guy who's controlling the whole atmosphere of a room or a party, you know, it was just like such a, you know, gratifying feeling.
Were you aware of that at the time? I mean, we talked to a lot of DJs about, you know, that you develop this sense that you can really control the room, right? And what, you know, Victor Duplay was just on talking about how, you know, in his scenario, like somebody might die depending on what happens in that room, you know.
Yeah.
And like, hopefully not at your high school party, but
Right.
But like you can have that much influence over what happens, right? And so, but are you aware of that? Like at this first party, or does that happen over time?
I mean, that's definitely happens over time.
Yeah.
Like when you first start DJing, you're just like, how do I not train wreck these two records?
Right.
You know, there's no sync at this time.
Yeah.
These vinyl records, there's no like looking
Sure.
at the waveform, making sure they're lined up. It's like just you and this vinyl record and this needle that's probably gonna skip anyways.
Right.
You know, so it's like it was tough. You know,
Mhm.
it took years to develop the talent to read a room and be able to like even like mid set. You know, like you have usually before I play, even now to like back then, you go in like, all right, this is what I'm gonna start with this and go from there in this direction. But like sometimes that's not working with your crowd, and like you never know who's actually gonna be in the crowd.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to be able to read the room and see, and you know, change directions at the drop of a hat. You know, which is a very tough skill.
Sure.
And a lot of DJs, I mean, especially in electronic, I don't think have that capability at all.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just have their set and that's that. But I come from like a, you know, a party rocking, you know, real DJ, like really working for it.
Yeah.
Background before I was
Sure.
a producer artist, so like
Right.
I incorporate that into my shows now, even though like I could just stick to my only thing. You know, I could just have my one set and knock it out. I still like to switch it up to challenge myself.
Sure.
Because I get bored. It's like I could set up my whole playlist and just run
Right.
through it and be perfect and just be like,
Yeah.
what fun is that?
Yeah.
I like the possibility of me fucking up makes it more exciting.
Right.
You know, it makes it real. You know.
To be
Yeah,
a good
that's
DJ,
right.
I mean, we've heard interviewing DJs that DJs now have to be producers. But like listening to you and like you having your party rockin' background,
Right.
if you're looking at the spectrum of DJs, are the best DJs come from like that super like beginnings where it's not production, it's just
Right.
the
For
room?
the best actual DJs, for sure, come from the background of having to rock parties and clubs for crowds that they don't know, with some promoter up their ass telling them one thing.
Right.
This guy's telling you to play Guns N' Roses. This
Yeah, that's
girl wants a
awesome.
birthday shout out.
Right.
And you gotta like, you know, be able to weather the storm and
Yeah.
keep
Right.
the party intact.
Yeah.
Like that to me is what real DJing is and makes the best DJs.
Right.
But in the electronic world, it's different. You know, like they may not, there's not, you know, someone up your ass all the time, like making orders. Girls can't come up to you
Yeah.
at a
Yeah,
festival and be like, give me a shout out, you know?
Right.
So it's like, it's different. But, I mean, to me, 100%, the best DJs are the guys who, you know, really grind it out and play open format sets and have to jump around and read a room.
Right.
So how does that work? Talk about the difference between playing a club and playing a festival.
I mean, there's a big difference, huge difference. Like even now, like when you play a festival, it's like, it's all about you. It's whatever you want to do. No one could say anything.
Right.
Like
Yeah, you're removed from.
you're removed from the
Yeah.
crowd. You're removed from everyone. Like no one can be on stage with you unless you say you could be here.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it's like at a festival, you kind of paint the picture and that's your show. But like, for instance, like I have a residency at Light in Las Vegas, and like I want to go in there and play like I would at a festival, but there's management and there's tables and there's
Right.
you know you gotta entertain these like retards from like the Midwest who don't know anything about cool music,
Right.
while there's like also some cool kids in there who know every latest thing,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, it's much harder to play a club than a festival, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because like when I play at Light, I'm like really, like I'm super prepared. I'm like I gotta have this, that, and that, you know, and really gotta read the room. And then like sometimes in the middle of my set, they'll be like, "Yo, play some more hip hop," and I could be in the middle of like a house set, you know,
Right.
or like you know they'll be
Yeah.
like, I'll be playing like dope, more like underground
Yeah.
type stuff, and they're like, we need top 40, and it's just like, it fucks up your mindset when you're like in this mode of like, this is the shit that's popping, and it's like,
Right.
yo, we need some Jason Derulo. I'm like, dude, like, you know, it's just like,
Is that more management? That's like
yeah,
doing
it's
it? Yeah.
usually management of the clubs because
Yeah.
they're like, you know, as much as you know, you're the artist and you're headlining the club or whatever, like. They care about that, but they care about making
they-
money,
Right.
selling
They have their own
bottles, and
ideas
keeping
of-
people in the
Right.
club.
What does that do for you as like your brand? Because you have a brand,
Right.
You're trying
Right.
to
Well, that's
build.
a very tough balance to stay on brand when you're in those, you know, club settings because you got to please so many people.
Yeah.
Now, like, once you get to a certain point, it's just like no one can say shit to you, you know?
Right.
Like,
Because of popularity.
right.
Okay.
Because, like, if Diplo goes into a club, like, no one's going to say
Then
shit
I
to
can
him.
tell him to
Right.
play.
You know?
Yeah.
But, like, me, I'm still, like, grinding my way up and establishing myself. So, like, I got to play the game. And, like, DJs
What-
got to be cognizant of that.
Right.
Or else they're not going to get booked again at X, Y, and Z club if they're just like, oh, I'm here doing my shit. But they're like, you're just coming up. Like, we're never going to book you again.
What's
Who
the
cares?
road? What's the road for a DJ to get to that point? Is it do more festivals so people know your brand? And
Well,
then-
I mean, obviously, yeah, it's do more festivals, but the way you get festivals is by having an established brand. Like, you can't just be like, I'm just doing festivals. Like, I'd love to do that. I would love
but
to
you
never
have to
play
get
a club
booked for
again in
those
my
Right.
life.
Yeah.
But it's a very, like
Sure.
I'm on that path right now, like, where I've, like, literally in the past couple of years been turning down almost all club offers
Right.
to keep on brand. So I get to the point where I'm on every festival. Now, like, I get festival bookings, but it's not like every festival I'm on. So it's like, it's very hard to juggle that balance. Because, like, I'm turning down money left and right
Yeah.
yeah.
for club gigs,
Sure.
but to, like, take a festival gig where I might get paid not much, but it's, like, a great look, you know? So
Right.
it's like
You think you would miss
juggling
it, though?
that. Club stuff?
Yeah.
A little bit. I actually was talking to my managers about that recently because I hadn't been playing clubs for a while, and then I just started this Vegas residency, and I played. I'm like, dude, I need to keep playing clubs to just stay sharp
Right.
Yeah.
with this type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff.
Right.
So, like,
Sure.
when it comes up, I'm still the same killer as I am at a festival.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, because I imagine that reading the room, right? Like, again, that's a skill that has to be continually
Right.
nurtured.
And just, like, your thought process of, like, what songs are, like,
Yeah.
your go-to, you know,
Yeah.
in certain instances, like I'm not thinking about, like, what top 40 record I want to mix in.
Right.
But, like, in a Vegas setting, I got to have those
Right.
and, like, be able to do it in a dope way where it doesn't make me look whack, but it also pleases whatever crowd or management is asking for that.
How are you making? I'm very fascinated by artists building their brand because it's extremely challenging because of money,
Yeah,
mostly because of
extremely.
money. And then you have to, like, build your brand and get popular. But how do you make those decisions? Like, how do you decide, like, no more clubs because I need to do more festivals? Are you basing that off of the market, like seeing other DJs and how their journey has progressed, or is it something like you feel in your gut and need to?
It's a little bit of both, you know. It's like watching the trends of, like, how other people's careers progress, and, like, really it's like between me and my management, my team, we're just, like, kind of like a group decision. Like, if we want to be a festival act, we can't play these clubs, because, like, if Jayceeoh plays Greystone, you know,
Right.
once a
Right.
week,
Then that's your
when he
brand.
headlines Avalon, like, people are gonna be like, who cares? He plays Greystone all the time. It's not
Right.
special.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like making that choice to, like, I'm really going for this is the hardest part. And then you got to stick to it. Cause, like, you know, and I'm even, like, a lot of times I'll hit my manager up, like, cause I might have a bunch of days off because we're waiting for the right plays. I'm like, dude, man, like, I just want to go out there and make some money.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, it's tough.
I could
Yeah.
kill these clubs and make, you know, a bunch
Right.
of money this weekend. And they're like, dude, we know, but just, you know, like, if you want, like, it's like a choice of, like, you could be at the top of the club world and make, you know, your few $1,000 a night, you know. But if you want to get to the, you know, 10K plus range, like, you got to, you know, make these decisions at some point where I can't do this because I want to do that.
Right.
You know, it's like,
What
take
about
a step
stuff
back.
like I know you do, you know, do over
Mhm.
stuff that's a little more like it's not the Hollywood club scene,
Right.
It's like
Right.
niche.
So
Yeah.
it's like not that corridor
Right.
from like Hollywood to Vegas to festivals.
Right.
Like, is that safer to go like
Yeah, I mean, those kind of, like, niche
do a
parties
workout kind of thing?
that are, like, you know, institution parties, like, great one-offs.
Yeah.
Where, like, people go there to really see a DJ do their thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'll do those all day.
Yeah.
But it's like half of these
But
clubs,
those are-
like,
there's no money there.
yeah, there's not money there. That's
Right.
more for the love.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and for your brand.
It's a
for
workout,
sure.
right? It's just
Right, yeah.
keep
It's
you-
just like getting to rinse a bunch of records that I don't
Yeah.
normally.
Would you do your own events? Like, would
Yeah, you know, like, I have thrown events in the past. Like, I did South by Southwest showcase that I threw myself for like 4 years in a row.
How'd that go?
It was great, but it was a lot of work, and just like,
Yeah.
damn, this,
It is a lot of work.
Events are a lot of work.
yeah. So I'm just like, I don't think I'm gonna do that again.
That's our core business.
Until
so-
I have like I'd rather have an infrastructure and a team that could
Right.
handle all that for me.
Right.
Before I jump back into throwing events.
Mm-hmm.
But
Did you see success come out of South by Southwest doing that 4-year stint?
Yeah, definitely. It like the Super 7 mixtape series, which I started about 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
Result.
Super 7 showcase. So
Okay.
like each year I did a mixtape featuring 6 other, very well-known DJs and artists.
Mhm.
So the South by showcase would be me and as much of the people from that
Right.
volume who can
That
make
you
it
can
out,
get,
and
yeah.
plus like there's so many other people at South by, so I'd
Yeah.
incorporate other acts and like
Mm-hmm.
I had Keys and Crates play the first one
Mhm.
before they were like anything, you know.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's just like it's cool to like do stuff like that from the ground up, but right now I just am delegating my energy in like other places.
Yeah. So talk about Super 7 a little bit. Like, I mean, it's a great series, and I love I love the approach to it. That
Right.
that it is about including different
Yeah.
DJs, right?
Yeah, well, Super 7 is a series I started, like I said, 7 or 8 years ago. I'm not even sure. I just released Volume 6 last year.
Mhm.
And, like, each volume, every DJ gets 10 minutes to completely, flush out whatever they want. It's just, like... And the beauty of it is, like, each volume, everyone knows that everyone else is really going to go in.
Right.
So, like, everyone
Yeah.
has to, like...
Yeah, they prepare.
They know they got to bring their
sure.
shit.
Yeah.
So it's like it just brings out the best of everyone, and it's like been a really great, jumping point for me. Just from Volume 1, it kind of like catapulted my career to a certain extent in the DJ world. Because once I did the first one, there was like a lot of, really well-known DJs were reaching out to me who I never
Right.
even met. Like, yo, I want to get on the next one. I was like, I guess I got to make this a series, and
Yeah.
it just
Right.
progressed to the point where like I had guys like Jazzy Jeff and Revolution and Gaslamp Killer to the most recent one, like a lot of top tier electronic artists like Nightmare, TJR, Lucas, and it's just like it's crazy how it's grown. It's just become respected in the DJ community, and now I'm trying to bring it more to the production side of things, which is what the last volume. Like each volume, I kind of want to feature artists that are kind of in the lane that I'm at that time. To just kind of like feed off each other, and it's like it's great. It spreads like wildfire because like between all the artists, sharing it within their networks, it really
Yeah.
gets out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats. That's awesome.
So what about that community? Like, DJs are to some extent you're all competitive with each
Right.
other, right?
Yeah.
I know like there's that sort of spirit of competition, but there's
Yeah.
also like you're competing for gigs,
Yeah,
and then there's a lot of helping each other too.
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of funny for me, just because I come from the hip hop battle world where it's
Right.
just like super cutthroat,
Yeah.
like not necessarily verbally, but on the tables, I'm gonna
Right.
kill you, like you're whack,
Sure.
all this, but like that's not like
Right.
that's not how electronic music works, and it's like
It's all love.
yeah, it's all love, but it's also very like clicky, It's like there's a lot of like I feel like kind of like fake quasi support, but there's also a lot of genuine support. Like I feel like here in LA, there's a lot of artists who we're all friendly with each other and support each other's releases for the most part.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when it comes down to it, the managers are like, nah,
Yeah.
he can't be on the show and this and that. But there's a lot of
Sure.
shady stuff behind doors. But that's every industry that's there's money involved. It's a
Yeah.
business, and it's like everyone wants to win,
Sure.
and if you want to win, someone has to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as cut and dry as win and lose, but it's like, it's definitely very competitive. But at the same time, I do love how kind of open people are to like feedback and just supporting other people's music. And
So who's been really helpful to you along the way, and what have you learned from other DJs?
well, there's been a lot of different. I mean, like since I've like kind of chosen to go the electronic route, there's been like a few people who have like reached out who have kind of like helped guide me and like motivate me. Like early on a few years ago, Bassnectar reached out to me kind of out of nowhere, and was just like, "Hey man, I love your shit." I was like, "Is this real?" And then we started chatting, and he was like, "Yo, we got to make some music together."
Nice.
And that was like right when he was coming out with his album, and he gave me an opportunity to remix Loco Ona for him, and I did it, and it went great, and he still plays it in his sets now.
That's
and
cool.
he, you know, gave me, you know, some motivation and just like, just a nice, like, the fact that he like reached out and like saw what I was doing was just like very motivational.
Yeah.
The Bloody Beetroots, Sir Bob, I have a good relationship with him.
Nice.
Through my actually my best friend from college, this kid Eric, was their like tour and production manager.
Okay.
For a long time, and he ended up bringing him by my house a few years ago, and we just kind of like hung out, and I played him a bunch of stuff, and he ended up taking me on tour. We made 2 originals together. I remixed one of his songs with Peter Frampton, and you know, just to have like kind of like OG electronic dudes who are very established, you know, just be down for me was very great. But it's funny because like I'll have like a Bassnectar and the Beetroots, you know, do records with me, but then I'll like reach out to someone who's like kind of on my level here, and they try to act like funny style.
Sure.
I'm like, dude, like these guys are,
That's,
you
but,
know,
that's,
but that's just how it is.
right.
But the thing is that I'm also realizing is a lot of these kids don't have the background that I have, and they haven't paid dues. They don't know what it's like to like approach it the way I do. So it's like, as much as sometimes I want to like just like kind of like spaz out and like sun people, I'm just like, these kids, they're young, and they don't approach it the same way, and they don't think like, oh, he, you know, this is his background, he's done this and that. They just see everything on the superficial level. So it's like, you know, to really break through and connect with other artists that are like younger is like kind of a different mission than these like older guys.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go back a little bit. You know, I want to talk about the battle stuff because I know, you know, you got deep into that with DMC and you know, so what was the I guess how did you get your, like, how'd you learn that stuff? Was it just all the VHS stuff, or was there a scene in Pittsburgh?
Well, I started like in high school. It was like I was watching VHS tapes, like Qbert, instructional videos, all that.
Yeah.
But I was just very like in the bedroom, like honing my skills. When I got to Boston, that's when I started like battling and playing out, and I actually formed a DJ crew called the Deck Demons.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
that was like a crew of like all dudes who were like better at certain things, so we all like really learned from each other. And that's how I really sharpened up my battle skills, was through being in that crew.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, all we wanted to do was be like the best, you know, battle crew, the new Executioners, the new Beat Junkies, and you know, so that's like really what sharpened my battle skills, doing that. I mean, that was like my main, how I learned how to battle.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, being in the battles and like getting my ass kicked a couple times and be like, oh, damn, I gotta step it up, you know?
How do you take feedback? You know, it seems like feedback is like probably one of the biggest opportunities for artists, right?
Yeah. I mean, it depends like on who it's coming from, you know, obviously. But I mean, it's tough because as an artist, like, when you like present something to someone, you obviously want it to be well received.
Right.
And but at the same time, like a lot of times I'll, like if I'm sending something that's undone, I'm like, here's a disclaimer, X, Y, and Z. So like when people come back with feedback, I'm like expecting it, you know?
Right.
So it's tough. It's like, I like feedback. Obviously I like good feedback better than bad feedback, but it's like, you know, it's like anything. It's like you put your heart and soul into something, and if someone comes out of nowhere and is like, yeah, that shit's trash, you're like...
But have you ever gotten feedback when you love something so much and you're like, oh, that stung, and then like months or weeks later you're like, but it's right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's hard because, like, you know, you want to stick by your guns.
Yeah.
And like as a creator, you know, it's like, oh, thanks. You know, as a creator, when you make something, you stand behind it. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, when you get feedback from people who you trust, you know, like I have an inner circle of people who it's like I'll send anything to and they can say anything and I'm not like offended by it, you know.
Right.
But like certain people, I'll just be like, yo, check this out, you know. And then they like give me feedback that I'm not even asking for. I'm like, dude, like no one asked you, dog.
Right.
Like, you know, so it's like, you know, feedback is a funny thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, being able to absorb it
Right.
in a good way.
And did you have mentors at that time, like in Pittsburgh or Boston, that were like, were you figuring it out all on your own, or was somebody?
I mean, I didn't have any like straight mentors, but it was just like my crew and my peers around. Like everyone was very hungry and just like, you know, everyone was trying to be the best. So it was just like,
Yeah. Competition.
everyone was like competing and just feeding off each other's energy to get better.
So, and I know part of that crew, at least in Pittsburgh, right? You were DJing with Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, well,
Mac Miller.
Yeah, but those two are much younger than me.
Okay.
So I was already out of Pittsburgh when they were like in high school. But when I was in Boston in college, that was when Rostrum Records had signed Wiz and he was still in high school. And like my buddies Artie Pitt and Benji Grimberg were like, we just signed this young kid Wiz, like check him out.
Right.
And I was on the radio in Boston, so I would support.
Oh, cool.
And I was actually maybe the first. I think I was the first, but I'm not 100% sure to like actually play Wiz on the radio outside
cool.
of Pittsburgh while I was still in high school.
That's college radio?
Yeah.
Nice.
But I was at 88.9 WERS, which is Emerson College Radio, which was at the time the #1 college radio station in the country.
Wow.
So it was like it had a very big reach.
Yeah.
So like I would support Wiz early on, and then once he started really bubbling, you know, they called me up and I like held down Wiz on a couple tour dates and like CMJ and X, Y, and Z, and then he got to a point where he was about to go on, might have been his like first big tour, like 40, 50 dates, and they wanted me to go, but I was already like kind of DJing and doing my thing and traveling and making like decent money, and like the rate that they could afford to pay me, I was just like I can't do it, you know.
Yeah.
Which in retrospect, I'm like, should I have done it? Should I have not done it?
Right.
It's a tough call, you know.
I mean, it's hard to say, right?
Yeah, but it's actually, you know, like I didn't go, and one of my best friends, DJ Bonix, ended up being his DJ, and he's been his DJ since then, and now, you know, he's still with Wiz, and they're, you know, obviously killing and traveling the world, and it's great to see my friend do that. But I'm glad it's him, because me, like, I've DJed for a lot of different artists and rappers throughout time, and that's very fun and rewarding, but like it's not about you, it's not about your music.
Like
so it's like you're the background guy. Like no decision, like is your opinion really gonna matter? So it's like I wanted to be the, you know, the director of my life and my career path. So, you know, in retrospect, I'm glad I made that decision. So you know, I could be in control of my future.
And so, but I know you did tour with Sammy Adams, right?
Yep, Sammy Adams.
Yeah.
We I got booked. We played Terminal 5 in New York City. I feel like, I forget what website, it might have been like Bro Bible or something, like through a concert, and I got booked to open for Sammy, and it was like a sold out crowd, and I just destroyed the place.
Nice.
And like Sammy was like while I was playing before him, he was like looking at the balcony, and like his whole crew was like, yo, this dude's nasty, like. And like I finished my set, and they were all just like kind of like, yo, like shit was crazy. And they had another DJ at the time. I'm like, yeah, thanks, man, it's fun, like see you later, you know? And then like a couple weeks later, they're like, yo, would you want to like come on tour and like do all this stuff? And at that point, I was like, I saw what that show was like, and he had all these like super young fans who were just like so excited to be there, and it just had great energy at the shows. I was like, yeah, that could be a good opportunity to you know, get in front of some more people, help influence his music, and you know, do my own DJ thing and build fans. So I had like a 2-year run with Sammy and put out like 3 mixtapes with him that I like pretty much A&R'd and produced for the most part. And you know, that was a good run. And I mean,
is that like a game changer for you? Like, does the phone start ringing
from that? No, that wasn't a game changer. It was like, I mean, it was dope. Like, I definitely got a lot of love and new fans, but it wasn't like a game changer.
Right.
I mean, a game changer was basically after I got done doing that, I I went out to be on a TV show,
Yeah.
Master of the Mix on
Yeah, yeah.
VH1.
Yep.
Reality TV show, 10 episodes competing for $250,000,
Sure.
and I ended up winning it.
Yeah.
So that was a game changer.
That's huge.
You
for
know,
sure.
just
Is that so? So obviously the money helps.
yeah.
What did you go buy something crazy?
Nah, the money is really what kind of like birthed and gave me the breathing room to become like a producer artist. Because before that, I was just crazy, you know, playing clubs
just
and
playing
shows
every night.
just to pay rent.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't like I was making money and making a living, but not like savings, like real
Yeah.
money.
Man, we haven't
you know?
found anybody yet who's bought something crazy.
It's not. Maybe it's just not the
we're gonna find
generation
somebody.
anymore.
Well, recently I did, but
Oh,
we'll
yeah?
get to that.
Okay.
Well, not crazy. It was a smart investment, but
Yeah. See,
But
I don't want that. I want like, damn, why did I spend my money on that?
nah. But
It's
basically,
gonna sink me.
after I won that show and knowing I had that money gave me the breathing room to be like, I'm not going to play these clubs. I'm just going to lock myself in the studio
Yeah.
and get my production up to a point where like people will respect Jayceeoh as a producer artist, not just like a great DJ.
Right.
So that was like,
Yeah.
and it's
absolutely.
been like, since the show was about 3 years ago, and you know, I've been fighting that battle for a long time. For a long time, I'd produce remixes and like, yeah, that's cool, but he's just a hip hop ballad DJ. He's just a club DJ.
Right.
You know, he was on that TV show.
What was
And
it?
like, I don't even like me and my management. Like, we don't even tell people about the VH1 show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though that's a pretty significant thing. Like, I don't want that on any flyers. I don't want to be known as like
Right.
Yeah.
the guy that won the reality show because I've done so many other legitimate things
Sure.
in my
Yeah.
career.
Yeah. So with that background, like, what was that decision like to do TV? Obviously, you know, I don't know how you feel about it, but you know, TV can kind of go either way.
Right. Well, it was a gamble.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, because that Master of the Mix show, it was on BET for 2 years prior,
Right.
and I was like, dude, I'd kill these guys, but I was like, it's on BET. I don't know if that's really a great look for me.
Mhm.
And then VH1 bought it out, and they're like, it's gonna be on VH1. I'm like, it's a much bigger network,
Right.
kind of like the same scenario. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out, and I was like, based on what I've seen and like how these competitions go and the challenges, I was like, I know I could go in there and do great
Right.
and possibly win, you know?
How much of it was about like behind the tables versus all the other reality show stuff?
It was all behind the tables. There's
Really?
honestly like no like reality show bullshit, like
Okay.
fake drama.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I thought there'd be more of that,
Yeah.
but it really wasn't. It was all, each episode was like, this is the challenge. This is us working on the challenge. This is us like before the challenge, executing it, you know, after the judge's response. It was
Yeah.
like, there wasn't any like outside of DJing like BS. I
That's
mean,
cool.
like they would like try and like while we're sitting there, you know, the guys would be like, oh, what do you think about so-and-so? And like try and get people to talk shit.
Yeah.
But like,
He,
But that's
he said something
normal.
about you.
but that's normal banter, you know?
Right. Right. Right.
But it was like the cool thing about,
Who was on the show with you?
I mean, there was a lot of people. Like, I mean, it's
Who was your toughest competition?
I mean, in the finals, it was Chris Carnes,
Mhm.
who's also known as DJ Vadra. He's a DMC world
Yeah.
champion, like incredible DJ. Dynamics, who has won multiple like Red Bull 3-style competitions. This dude, Incrediboy from New York, who was
Yeah, yeah.
dope. Loxy, like, there's a bunch of like good people, but like
Cool.
when it started, it was like 20 people. And like from the first episode, I was like, I'm not going anywhere for a while. I was like, all these clowns are gonna
Right.
get,
Right.
you know, kicked off.
Sure.
But like I killed it. Like the first couple episodes, like I did really well, and like the judges were, I felt like I was like the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like got a little bit comfortable,
Mhm.
and like the kind of the middle episodes, like I got some like weird feedback from the judges. I'm like, what you talking about? Like,
Yeah. Wait a second.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then when it got down to like the final 5, I was like, all right, I got to get back on my killer shit. And like,
So how much does that happen throughout your career? I mean, obviously, you know, I've seen like you're great at what you do. The challenge for people, yeah. I mean, but you know, the challenge for people that are great at what they do sometimes is ego
Yeah.
right,
and insecurity and all the internal
Yeah.
stuff, right?
right.
How much is that a battle
I
throughout
mean,
your career?
it's a battle, but it's also like such a huge motivator.
Yeah.
because it's like, because I set the bar so high for myself by like winning competitions and just like,
Yeah.
just the straight up brother mentality is like, I gotta be the best, you know?
Yeah.
And whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to win. Like,
Right.
why would I do it if I'm not trying to win at it? So it's like, I bring that into every aspect of my career and life and just anything in general. Like,
Yeah.
whatever we're doing, like if we're trying to drink water fast, I'm trying to drink that shit faster than you, dog. Like,
So you know, it's easy to see in a battle how that plays out, right? Because there's a winner and a,
right,
and a non-winner.
right,
You know, in a small town, or not that Pittsburgh is a small town, but like,
right,
you know, in the club scene where it's a very confined thing, there's going
Right.
to be that dude
right,
that's running things, right? Or
Exactly.
a couple of them, right?
right.
But, you know, how does that play out in then producing music?
Yeah,
Right,
it's
'cause
a
that's
much it's a much different thing, and it's
Right.
not like you
How-
can't
so
be
how-
like. I mean, you could be like, this track's harder than this track, but
Right.
at the same time, it's like, unless you're like both given the exact same
Right.
criteria, the same samples,
Yeah.
it's like it's different. It's music. It's like it's
So-
it's interpreted much differently,
Sure.
and it's like now the real competition is like just getting your music heard,
Right.
because that's like the hardest part, because it's like you can make an incredible song, but unless it's released on the right platform, it's not going to reach the people you want. It's not going to get the plays you want. It's not
Right.
going to get the downloads you want.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the battle now is like, who's got the better PR,
Sure.
who's got the
Yeah.
better click, what other artists are resharing their shit on
Yeah.
SoundCloud. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a different kind of competition, and it's not as like, I mean, it's cutthroat, but it's not as like cutthroat like.
Well, you can't
old
see the
days.
effects so easily, like, of your
Yeah.
decision, right? Like, so, you know, in the PR example, it's like, well, it might take months to find out if you have the right person or
Yeah.
not.
Well, the PR is tough, man. Like,
Yeah.
I have PR now, and it's like some months I'm like, yo, they killed it, and
Yeah.
like they definitely earned it. And other months I'm
Yeah.
like, why the hell am
Like,
I paying these
what's
guys?
happening? Yeah.
You know, but it's like, you know, it's kind of an elusive thing, but it's like everyone kind of needs it. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Yeah.
certain things like I wouldn't get it if I didn't have that, because they have certain relationships that
Right.
me or my management may
Mhm.
not have.
hmm What about in terms of just straight up music promotion? Like, what have you learned, or what do you do? What's your go-to that works to
Well,
sort
there's
of
a-
break a record now?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, honestly, like the number one thing that's like right now and current is like artists like kind of like resharing each other's music
Yeah.
on SoundCloud. That's
Yeah.
like honestly the number one thing to blow up a song, because if, you know, I release a song and I'm like, yo, TJR, are you down to reshare this? And he's like, yeah. He reshares it. It goes out to all his fans, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, Nightmare, yo, what do you think about this one? You
Yeah.
down to trade or reshare? And it's just like creating a community of that, of all these artists that have
Right.
impact and their fans really pay attention is like,
Yeah.
is really the most
That's huge.
like effective way right now
Right.
to like get your music out to fans who actually care about it.
So how do
Right.
you decide then? Because, you know, how do you decide whose music to reshare?
Well, that's a tough thing as well. Like
Yeah.
there's a whole, you know, like on paper it's like, how many followers is this guy? Does
Right.
he have as much or more than me? Then it's
Right.
worth it. Or if he has, you know, 5,000, he's asking to trade. It's like, it's not worth it. But at the
Right.
same time, it's like, if I have a homie, you know, who has like a few thousand followers, but I want to support him, like I'm gonna still reshare his music.
Yeah.
But like on the trade for trade thing, it's kind of weird, and it gets kind of like fuzzy, and like dudes definitely act funny style.
Is that right?
You know, like certain artists,
Yeah.
you know, they're just like, I'll only reshare this guy or that guy.
Right.
But it's just like, there's kind of no rhyme or reason. Like sometimes management handles it all. Sometimes it's just the artists being weirdos. But like for me, I'm very open to it. Like if the song, you know, if another artist has a good song and they want to trade a reshare, like
Yeah.
I'm down, you know?
I'm gonna start a service where we hack people's SoundCloud accounts and reshare if you hire us.
You'll probably make some money there.
Because it'll take
Yeah.
them a few
Yeah.
days to notice.
Yeah.
You know.
But also on
by
the,
then it's like it's
on
done.
the promotional front,
That's a good. Write that down.
I kind of took it back to the old school. Last year, I released "Turn Me Up Some," which is
Uh-huh.
my big single featuring Redman.
Yeah.
on my own label, Super 7 Records, which I launched with that song.
Nice.
And I did a radio campaign where I hired a radio promoter, which isn't like super old school, but something that people aren't really doing for electronic music.
Sure.
Because it was kind of a crossover hip-hop electronic, so like getting spins on Power 106 and the likes throughout the country. But beyond that, I did like a 6-city like street team campaign of like, the posters on like
cool. Yeah.
on like the
Old
poles.
school.
Yeah. And I like bombed like Lollapalooza, Hard, Day of the Dead, like, or Hard Summer, like different festivals like EDC New York, and just like took it back to that and like strategically, have these posters blown up on the one road that every artist and every fan has to go through to just like kind of imprint it in people's minds.
Right.
And like a lot of people came up to me like, yo, like, that was like, why'd you do that? I'm like, we just like, people have been doing that for years. It's like, like marketing 101, guerrilla shit.
And could you see a difference?
Oh yeah, I was getting hit up by so many people, and just like Lollapalooza, for instance, like I had a club show in town, but I wasn't playing the festival. But when I was walking around the festival backstage, everyone's like, yo, I seen your shit everywhere. It's just like, it's just like, if people see your name, they're subconsciously going to remember it.
Right.
It's just like really
Absolutely.
people forget that there's like real life outside of the internet.
Right.
It's like putting something, a real tangible thing in front of someone's face instead of just doing everything on the internet is like, it's effective because people like forgot about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, everyone's so concerned with what's happening online.
Yeah.
And for good reason, obviously. And when you can click directly to a song or to buy something, right? No doubt. But if that's where everybody is,
right,
then maybe there's opportunity.
Right. It's just like by putting posters up at the Lollapalooza entrance, like I got, hundreds of thousands of eyeballs on that in 2 days.
Yeah. It's
So
great.
it's like even like Steve Gordon, who runs Circle Talent Agency, is like, yo, Jayceeoh killed that. He's like, why are other artists doing that? I'm like, I don't know. Where's my festival bookings at?
Exactly. That's right. That's great. So, and then I know you've done some other TV stuff.
Yeah, I've been on a couple things. I was just on the Kardashians recently.
Okay.
Doing what?
I got asked to DJ Kylie and Kendall's like graduation party thing.
Like a real graduation? Like they actually graduated?
Basically, I don't think so. Like who knows what
Yeah.
happened. But it was cool. It was like at the
They had a graduation party. That's all that,
It was at
all that matters.
Chris the mom's house, and
Cool.
Kanye was there, and James Harden, and all
Nice.
the Kardashian girls,
Yeah.
and Ryan Seacrest, and
Yeah.
whoever knows what else. That was a pretty fun experience.
Yeah.
Good exposure, and like by doing that, we also like, I was like, I'll do this, but I need to get Turn Me Up Some in the episode, and I got my song in the episode.
Nice.
So that's great.
That's
You
great.
know,
Awesome.
me and Sammy Adams were on an episode of 90210 back in the day.
Shit. Okay.
We were on like
DJing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we performed on like Conan O'Brien and shit, and just
Right.
like a couple of TV things. And that's also those things like for when I was on the VH1 show, like kind of seasoned me, so I wasn't like weird or awkward
Right.
in front of camera.
Get
Yeah.
used to the
Like,
cameras.
Yeah.
like a lot of people when they were on the show were just like so weird and like just awkward in front of cameras, and I'm like, for those kind of things, like a reality show, like you got to go in there like knowing how you want to project yourself and stick
Right.
yourself to that.
Yeah.
And if you expose X, Y, and Z, like, certain dudes are on there crying, it's like, it's not a good look, dog.
Right.
Like, it's not helping out.
Yeah, for sure.
So no mentors, but like I feel like you have a good grasp of your business fundamentals or like your
Yeah, I
values.
mean, my father is a businessman. Like he but he was an investor and stockbroker, but just very business savvy. And he's helped guide me,
Yeah.
through all my decisions. And just like through, I graduated college and got a degree in media arts, and like, had classes in music business. And it's just like, before I won that TV show, like I didn't have a real manager.
Right.
Like I managed myself and like booked myself in over 20 countries. like just myself. So like I know how to do it all, like from all sides of the fence, which is tough because like even for my managers now, they're like telling me shit. I'm like, well, what about this? They're like, why are you worrying about that? I was like, just because I know it has to happen. I'm just like, you know, thinking about all sides of the spectrum.
So is that a good idea for young cats coming up to like handle your own stuff for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of young cats, I mean, you have to until you get to a point
Sure,
where a manager really wants to work with you. But it's like,
but a lot of times you get your cousin or you get to, you know, the kid.
Like I don't
next
like
to
I've
you
seen
to-
some bad cases of artists who just like they get a manager and they just like whatever you do is like I'm not at the mercy of you.
Right.
And I've seen some careers crumble because of that.
Right.
Because they trust everything into their manager, but their manager might be a snaky guy who's like has other, you know, ultimatums or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like for any artist, like I recommend that you really
you have to
be a part of every aspect of your career, or at least be aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Like you can't just be blind to what's happening behind closed doors because in the end it's your career.
Right.
You know?
So kind of like you practicing all assets of the business has given you like the instinct to know when something is right or wrong.
Yeah, it's like right now I'm working on, we're doing like a Turn Me Up Some tour for like April, May, and like my management are working on like a tour ad mat and like they're sending me revisions and I'm just like right away I'm like, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, we gotta do this and that, you know, and it's like
They must love that.
they hate it, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like,
but
you know,
there needs to be a leader.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, beyond like me knowing how to do music, my whole family is like visual artists, like both of my parents.
Oh,
so like
nice.
I grew up, you know, painting, doing graphic design, like graffiti, like I said. So I have a very good sense of like art and aesthetic. So it's like when, you know, when the flyer or whatever kind of artwork comes around, like I know how I want it to look, and if it doesn't look right, like I know.
Yeah. No, I think that's, and for your team, I'm sure it's awesome to work with somebody who knows what they're doing and what.
And like we
they
fight
want.
a lot, but it's like the awesome thing about my managers, Mike and Sean, Interlock Entertainment, great guys, is they're so passionate about it as I am. So we'll like.
That's great.
We'll like argue about it, but it's like all for the greater good.
Right.
You know, it's like because we're so passionate about it that we'll fight each other, you know, over little things, but just because we want it to be great.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good.
What'd you used to write?
Threat 1.
Okay.
I was DJ Threat was actually my first DJ name.
Yeah.
But there was another DJ Threat, and he like passed away.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, I'm just gonna let that be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like kind of like a West Coast like gangster dude.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't make it okay that he passed away, but
I don't know if I knew. I don't think I
I
know.
think he was like down with like not Dre and them, but some sort of West Coast syndicate.
Okay.
Some sort of West Coast gangster syndicate back in the day.
So are the TV shows? I mean, not the Kardashians and 90210, but like the, you know, Master of the Mix. There's the Simon Cowell show,
Right.
That I think you had a party of or something. No.
Did that even happen?
No, but it was floating around.
Yeah, no, they were talking to me about maybe
okay.
doing something for it, but
Yeah.
it never came around.
Is that stuff good for DJ culture?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's bad per se. Like Master of the Mix, like even though some of it was like the way it was edited wasn't great, but just like having a TV show that's just showcasing the different aspects of DJing, I thought was great because like especially Master of the Mix because it was like kind of turntable related, and each challenge was like the hip hop challenge, the technical challenge, the EDM challenge, the producer challenge.
Yeah.
It really shows that it isn't just going up there and playing press and play.
Yeah.
That there is more to it, you know?
Yeah.
So like a show like that kind of highlights different aspects of DJing. Is good for DJ culture. And kind of like brings it to like the just normal person who doesn't know much, kind of informs them about what goes into it.
Yeah.
But like the Simon Cowell thing, even though I haven't seen it, I could only imagine how kind of cheesy and not
You'd imagine,
But at the same time, they're trying to highlight a different aspect of DJ culture, the more like mainstream EDM
Yeah.
kind of route,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit, because you started out in hip hop, and when and why did you make a switch?
well, like I started out as hip hop, you know, and then as I started playing more and more clubs and became like this, you know, club DJ playing everywhere, like you had to incorporate different music. And like dance music, electronic music was just like so much fun to play because it had so much energy. It would get great crowd reaction.
Right.
It got to a point where all the hip hop records were sounding the same. Like besides like a little turn up here and there, it was just like, this shit is boring. It's not fun to DJ. And when I play electronic music, people are more open to like different stuff. It didn't have to be just this hit and that hit. As long as it had like a good groove and a good drop, like people were down for it in an electronic setting. So I was just like, I got kind of fed up with the monotony of hip hop.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I need something else that's like gonna be fun for me to spin, you know, and just like, you know, get these crowds to go crazy, you know. And I saw more reaction from electronic dance music than hip hop. And so, you know, when I started really focusing on production, you know, trap was just like the instant like home for me because it's a mix of hip hop and electronic.
Right.
And that's just like my wheelhouse. So it's just like perfect. And like that has been pretty much my lane into electronic music. I've produced a bunch of different records at different tempos and styles, but just like bass music is, you know, what you would have to categorize me in.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you ever think this might go away? Not DJing, but like the trap genre.
Nah, I don't think so.
Not that it is or isn't. I was just wondering because like trap is relatively new.
Right.
Right? I'm not a music background.
Right.
These guys school me all the time, but I just always wonder if that crosses your mind. Like if you start to go that lane, but then do you ever get nervous that it'll...
Well, for me, like, even though I produce in that lane, like, I'm never stuck in that lane. Because I produce in, like I was saying, I produce all types of genres. And then, like, because, like, I approach production like I do my DJ set. Like, if I could play this type of song in my set, I got to be able to produce it, you know? So, like, I'll play hood hip-hop to trap to, like I'm doing a collab with Morgan Page right now. There's, like, some big room house shit that it's, like, you know, you wouldn't think about that for me, but, like, if I could hear it and, like, imagine it, like, I can make it. You know,
why would they approach you for doing something like that they don't picture you doing?
Who, Morgan Page?
Yeah.
Well, the Morgan Page thing is, like, it's an organic connection. Like, we actually went to college together.
Okay.
And he actually asked me to remix his song Running Wild last year, and the remix, like, exploded and, like, kind of surpassed the original, and it's been, like, on heavy rotation on Sirius XM for, like, 8 months. They play it 3 times a day still.
Amazing.
Nice.
So, like, from that, then we, you know, we did a little mini tour last fall. I mean, it's kind of a good pairing with, like, kind of that sound of an artist and me, because, like, when we play a show together, like, I'm not going to play anything that he wants to play and vice versa. So it's, like, kind of like yin and yang, and just, like, and then, you know, just from us hanging out, we're just like, we should do something, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, so I love taking other people's ideas and just, like, putting my spin on it, and, like, we came up with this great record that's, like, has a progressive, like, happy feel to it, but also has, like, a trap drop later in it, you know? It's just, like, it's really dope. We're getting the top line for it now, and it's just, like,
Nice.
you wouldn't expect that, but it's, like...
How do you convey
you know?
to artists that you want to work with that you guys could do something really big together?
If it's someone that I haven't, you know, met
haven't
or
worked-
don't really
right.
know, like I'll just, like, send them a few tracks, be like, of, like, things that I've done that I think that, like, we should do something like this, you know, like just last week, me and Bassjackers played together in Vegas. The first time I met him, and, you know, like, we're just chatting, and I'm like, yo, we should do something, and, you know, I'm gonna send him, you know, like, 3 or 4 tracks that are, like, kind of like his sound, but mine at the same time, and just to, like, paint the picture in his mind, like, oh, we could do something like that, and it'll be dope. You know, like, when I generally don't approach people that I don't know at all or don't have a relationship with, but, like, we played a show together. He saw me do my
Right.
thing. He did his thing. So it's like there's somewhat of a background there, you know. But it's like you just got to lead by example with a lot of these people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great insight.
So it sounded like it was a real natural thing to like just kind of migrate. Your
Yeah,
sound
it
based
was
on-
natural.
It wasn't like
It wasn't like I had to do a complete 180, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And it's like I kind of eased into it with like a lot of more trappy stuff, and then like, you know, the kind of like future bass house
Yeah.
stuff, and like the Morgan Page and like some more 128 stuff
right.
came later.
Yeah.
But it's like at the end of the day, it's like it's all just like high energy music.
Sure.
It's like whatever tempo it's at, like I don't care.
But
you know?
that's kind of a unique thing, like, you know, whatever, a rock band all of a sudden making a hip hop record.
right.
I mean, that happens like 3
Right.
times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, all like to that, like the beauty of like kids these days. It's like when we were growing up, it's like I like underground hip hop,
Yeah.
classic hip hop. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I'm
Genre
a punk
heavy.
rocker,
yeah.
you know. But now these kids like everything,
Yeah.
so it's like they want to hear everything in a set, and like they should be able to accept that from a producer
Mm-hmm.
to produce, you know, a lot of different sounds and styles. And like guys like Diplo are a great example because he kind of touches on everything
Right.
and anything that he wants, and that's kind of how I approach music as well.
I'm curious, what do you think that means? So, you know, my generation, I think yours to some extent, like your music taste kind of defined a lot about you as a person.
Right.
Not just the music, right? But how you dressed.
Right.
A lot of your views in life came from the music as a center, right?
Right.
You know, who your heroes were, all that stuff, just
Yeah.
how your identity. So how is that different now with kids that don't have that like genre identity? Like,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
I don't know. That's I'm not even sure what you're asking exactly.
Well, I'm just curious, like, you know, like if I think back to high school, you know, you walk
Right.
around, you're like, oh,
That kid's
that's the emo, you know,
yeah.
the goth kids. These are the hip hop
I mean, you
kids.
could still kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, tell people what people are into based on their style.
Okay.
You know, there's like, you know, the all black jogger kind of
Right.
like trap
Yeah.
look people got, you know,
Sure.
and then, you know, if you're a house progressive dude, you got like a deep V,
Uh-huh.
you know.
So is it just that?
It's just like-
So it's the same thing. They just don't hate the other styles,
yeah,
maybe
it's-
the way we did.
yeah, it's not as like this is this and everything else sucks.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are a lot more open, and it's just
Okay.
like you hear Tiesto dropping a hip hop
Right.
track in his set. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like genres are being blurred
Right.
across the board these
Yeah.
days, and I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. So what about? I know you've done a lot of work with brands. You know, from Smirnoff with the Master Mix to
Right.
McDonald's and
Yeah.
you know a bunch of stuff. You know, back to what Cassie was saying about your own brand. Like, how do you decide what brands to let in, and what brands are sort of off limits? Or do you even think
Yeah,
about that?
I mean it like for me, I don't think I'm at a point where I could. I mean, I could turn down if like, you know, Huggies is like, yo, would you try and do this diaper with us? I'll be like,
it might be
like,
fresh.
yeah. But I mean, nah, I mean,
Jayceeoh
it's like.
diapers.
Like obviously, like there's a line between something that's cheesy and not, but it's
Yeah.
like, you know, to get booked for an event for a brand, it's like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter so much.
But like to do a full on endorsement, it's like, it definitely matters. Like I've been approached by like some up and coming clothing brands or like sunglass company that they make dope shit, but I'm like, your name is just
Right.
whack. Like I don't want to put my name next to fucking.
Yeah,
You know, I'm not gonna air anyone out, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
it's gotta,
For sure.
you know, it's gotta sound and look right on paper
Mm-hmm.
and in real life for it to really make sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, at my stage of my career, it's not like I have like, you know, $1 million endorsement deals coming in. You know,
Right.
I get like, I've been lucky enough to have great relationships with a lot of clothing brands who have been sponsoring
Mhm.
me. You know, with gear like
Yeah.
like Huff and the
Yeah, so you
Hundreds.
stay fresh.
10 deep. So I'm like, gotta stay fresh, you know. Shoe Palace, thanks for these.
no,
Very
nice. We love Shoe Plow.
But it's like, you know, beyond that, you know, you gotta stay within brand. But
Yeah.
like all those brands, like they fit within my style.
Right.
You know, like
Mhm.
But from like a business perspective, like how much of your management team is thinking about brand relationship? Because I only asked because we interviewed Phil Q, who's a big guy in the music industry, and was in it when it was the old record days, right? But now he's saying like brands have all the money,
Right.
and they have the like what radio did for artists, they can do for young emerging artists now with all the money they have and all the resources. So does your management company think about
we
that?
always think about that, and like I'm on the verge of launching this new project with Redman called 1000 Volts. We're actually doing a group.
Nice.
Me and Redman. It's gonna be crazy. We can get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But like we're thinking about like what brands can like help launch that and like be a great platform, because like a lot of these kids, they'll follow the Hundreds blog more than they do like
big time.
Billboard or whatever.
Right, like Supreme and all those guys.
Yeah, it's like they're very influential, and style is like as important as music these days.
Yeah. So as you go through that, how do you decide, what brands
are right for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's pretty clear, it's just like, what does this brand do, Are we down with that or no? Like, is it whack or is it something we fuck with? And it's just like, and then if it gets to a point where like they're offering X, Y, and Z for this and that, then it's like, obviously lawyers and management and branding and all that. But I mean, it's like, for brands, it's on a street level, like streetwear brands, it's a lot easier than like
easier,
a big corporate, thing. But it's just like if Evian Water wants to sponsor us, it's like, who doesn't like water?
Right.
Yeah. So it's like,
they got money too.
Yeah.
But so let's say you're having those conversations, especially with the bigger brands. Is what do those guys need to know about how to partner with you or with DJs and musicians?
I mean, it's just like it depends like what they want to use you for, what they're offering you for it, and like how are you going to benefit from it. It's like,
do you ever think about like what selling out would be to you?
I don't even know.
No.
I mean, like, because a lot of people were like, oh, you're going to go on this TV show, you're going to sell out. I'm like, no, I'm going to go on a TV show, whoop some people's asses, and get $250,000.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about how you handle it.
For sure.
And, like, people could, like, question you, like, oh, why'd you do a record with this person? And it's just like, did you listen to the record, or are you just talking shit because of this person's name?
Yeah.
It's like you could, like, in terms of selling out, like, I feel like you could rebut that in any way.
Yeah.
For almost anything. Aside from like, I'm sure there's some super sellout shit that.
Well, to me, I think it's down to like you. It's like
right.
It's
like how you
like
conduct
it's
yourself.
not for me to decide if you sold out.
Right.
It's that's up to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
like maybe Skrillex could have sold out partnering with Bieber.
Yeah, like
a
lot
of
people.
The biggest thing for
a lot
them.
of people said that initially, and then now.
I still say that, but that's me.
Now,
But you
fucking
can't
the
deny
whole
the
world is like fucks with Bieber, like on a
but
real level, because Skrillex.
I know, but at the end of the day, you can't deny talent. Like if it's good, it's good, and it
exactly. It's like Bieber can sing, like
or whatever
his
he does.
past and whatever, like like people want to hate him for X, Y, and Z, but it's like the kid is young, he's pretty talented, and with the right team and people behind him, he can make some hot records. So
right.
It's like,
yeah, but
it's
I think
hate.
It's kind of like to your point, like it's fuck it. It's like if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it, and your fans will stand behind you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So how'd the Redman thing come about?
You got one.
What's up with that?
That's the last question.
Oh, okay. I got one more after that.
All right. Well, this is a good one.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
So, this all started with "Turn Me Up" Something, my single. I had started this record, loved it. It was great, and I had a Redman sample in there, and I was about to release it just as a freebie, and then I get a call. You're playing a festival in Croatia. Redman and Method Man are playing, Rick Ross, all these people. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I gotta hold on to this. Maybe I can meet Red, and who knows.
Yeah.
So we ended up staying at the same artist hotel in Croatia, like on this beautiful beach. And there was like kind of like an artist pool party. It was like super chill, not that many people. I'm like, it's my time. I gotta just roll on Red and like see what's up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Like introduce myself, and I'm like, yo, I sampled you on this one track. Can I play it for you? And it's like in the middle of a party, I'm playing it for him off an iPhone. He's just sitting there fucking with it, Redman. And he's just like, this shit is hot. And he hands it back. I'm like, yo, would you want to like get down on it, make it official? And he's
Yeah.
like, hell yeah. And he like just exchange info.
Nice.
A couple months later, we knock out the record. You know, almost a year after that, I put it out on Super 7, do all that stuff. And then in the meantime, Red was like, yo, send me some other beats. And so I sent him a folder of beats, and he calls me up like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, we might have to do a whole album. And I'm like,
Nice.
Word? And I'm like, you know, the Redman was one of the top rappers of all time to
right,
me.
especially when you're growing up.
And so I'm obviously like, this is incredible. So from then on, like, he had a bunch of beats, and, you know, he was touring, and he was like writing the stuff and sending me like snippets here and there. And it wasn't like a real thing per se. It was just like kind of an idea, like, we're gonna do this. He's wrote a couple songs, and then we just kept doing it. And then we were like, yo, we need to come up with a name for this project. Like, he's like, let's do a whole album and this and that. And we just kept recording and got to a point where we had like right now we probably have like 7 songs that are like dope.
Great.
And like we just probably like 2 months ago, maybe even a month ago, just decided on the name.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 Volts is Jayceeoh and Redman.
Nice.
And like we're gonna be touring, like,
That's a good one.
yeah, we're gonna unroll it like straight to festivals and like headline shows. Like,
That's cool.
gonna unroll it like
When
in a
is that?
very strategic
When
way.
are you trying to do that?
We're probably gonna do first single in April.
Okay. Oh,
And
damn,
then,
that's
like,
great.
Season.
and then like a few festivals this summer,
Yeah.
and then maybe like a full fall tour.
Nice.
But like it's coming together really great. And like the thing about this project is gonna be like a crossover, you know, kind of like Turn Me Up some, but a lot more vocals on it. But the perfect mixture of like hip hop and electronic music,
Yeah.
you know, with vocals on it. And it's like, what I'm doing now is like we have like the core of it. Now for the rest of the album, I'm gonna like work with other like good, well-known producers and like artists and collab
that's cool.
on those records. Like we just did a record with Zed's Dead that's like out of here,
Nice.
and like kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Other collaborations with great producers who are in electronic but also love hip hop, and Redman.
Yeah.
So it's just like the album is gonna be like
That's
a
great.
perfect mixture, and like our live show is like it's gonna be nuts because it's gonna be like, you know, all the 1,000 Volts music, Redman classics, like all my solo stuff, you know, Jayceeoh remixes, Time for Some Action, Redman into some crazy build up into some other shit. It's just like Red going crazy, and it's just like
So it's just
Red
be a
is
crazy party.
yeah, and Red is just super like open, and he's like super creative guy,
Yeah, sure.
in incredible shape right now, and he's just like
Nice.
it's fun as hell. Like just
Yeah.
brainstorming with him. We're like, yo, what should we have on stage? He's like, yo, man. He's like, I don't give a fuck. We have a couple Amish motherfuckers playing tennis on stage. He's like, we're just like gonna do some wild shit,
That's
and it's just
crazy.
gonna
Please
be
do that.
it's gonna
That
be
would
like
be really
Willy
funny.
Wonka's Trap Factory with like
That's
1,000
fantastic.
volts. It's gonna be nuts.
Please do that.
What's
That would be
what's
amazing.
happening?
Everybody, the whole audience would lose their mind.
Yeah, but we're
That's
gonna
dope.
plan it
That's
out,
dope.
and like, cause a lot of people, you know, hip hop and electronic has been, you know, fucking with each other a
Yeah.
lot recently.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like people have done records that have worked, but they haven't done like a cohesive project.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the rappers they use are like they'll be good on a track, but like it's not like completely fluid.
Yeah.
And like no one that says like has the charisma of Redman and like has the ability to really like transcend and like touch the hip hop community as well as electronic at the same time. It's just like Zed's Dead, for instance, like I'd never really met them before, but through my roommate and his brother, they tour managed them.
Nice.
Like, yo, Jayceeoh's doing this project with Redman, and they're like, dude, that's one of our favorite rappers. We'd love to do a track, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like helping just like create this, you know, communal environment where we're going to create this project that should just fucking change the game, hopefully.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. I want to.
Yeah, I can't wait.
1,000 volts.
Dope.
Yeah.
Never forget that.
Is that are we out of time?
Yes. So ask your last question you always ask.
Favorite DJ of all time?
Damn.
It
That's
could be
tough.
more than one.
Because I have so
don't
many
let 'em off yet.
different
Make 'em-
eras
Yeah.
of DJing.
All right. Favorite live DJ that you've seen?
I'd say like on the classic party rocking level, Jazzy Jeff. one of my top.
He's always the one everyone says.
Is he?
Yes.
No, he's-
all of like the
he's the
core,
most
like
mentioned.
good, all the DJs that are DJs.
Because what I love about Jeff is like he's technical, but he's also very like party driven
Yeah.
and can play lots of genres and jumps around. He has great charisma. He's he's Jazzy Jeff. You know.
Okay, what about mixtape?
Mixtape?
Yeah.
Probably.
Can you think back to like best mixtape?
Probably Jayceeoh. I don't know. Best mixtape DJ. I mean, that's tough because it's like the actual mixtape. Are we talking about like Clue type of mixtapes?
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
mixing mixtapes.
No, like, well, I guess it's up to you.
I mean, my favorite like mixtape that spawned everything. I hate to say Funk Flex it to be one of my favorite DJs, but 60 Minutes of Funk Volume 1, that mixtape
It's great.
is a quintessential mixtape
Yeah,
for
it's
me.
great.
Z-Trip as well.
Yeah. Uneasy
is a
listen.
big influence. Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. Battle mix. Who's the best battle?
Craze.
Yeah.
Craze is my dog.
At DMC.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Dope.
You're awesome.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited.
Yeah.
So promote the socials. Is 1000 Volts? Is that stuff live?
Yeah,
yet, or-
we did just get those down. It's 1000 Volts official and 1000 Volts music.
Okay.
100
Yeah.
0
Yep.
volts. And at Jayceeoh, JAYCEEOH on everything.
Dope.
Definitely follow that. Got so much music coming out solo, and then 1000 Volts coming out later this year is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll be watching, man. Come back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
promote.
For sure.
Okay, that was my man Jayceeoh. So many lessons, so much good music. I hope you enjoyed it like I did. Hit us up with comments. Hit us on Twitter at Rebel Radio Net. Hit us on Facebook on our very own Facebook page. And leave us a review and comments on iTunes. Look up Rebel Radio. Give us those 5 stars. Give us 6 stars if you feel like it. Most importantly, come back next week. My guests will be Kevin Kerslake and DJ Kevin Scott, producers of the As I Am, the documentary about the life and times of DJ AM. We're going to have great conversation, I'm sure. We'll see you then. Peace.